Howdy do, everybody. I'm Jerry, and today I'm going to be going over my Week 9 picks for all the NFL games this week. But before I do that, I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to King Pop Keith in the comments section, being absolutely electric. Want to see more of that. Not getting very many comments on the videos, obviously. It's acceptable. Just started the channel, so I'm cool with it. But let's just be a little bit more electric in the comments section if we could. That was fun. I like the positivity. More positivity. Everybody needs it. So do that. Comment, like, subscribe, and share this video for your friends. I want to try to reach 100 subscribers and just get this one step at a time. So let's go into this first week, this first pick here, Week 9. Titans Steelers. I wasn't sure what to do on this one because the Steelers are finding ways to win games. People want Matt Canada fired. Kenny Pickett's injured, might not play. Don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if that changes much. I don't think Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky swings the level that much for me personally. Didn't see a lot of action from George Pickens last game. The run game's been atrocious. Meanwhile, Will Levis went off. Of course, it was the first game, and maybe the defense will be able to figure out how to take down Will Levis and DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry and stop all that. But I don't think there's a lot of tape on them, and they're going to have to do a lot to stop him, I think, and probably put some more pressure on him. So I don't see them being able to do that, and that's why I picked the Titans to win, even though they're 2.5-point dogs. Going into Pittsburgh, I know it's a tough place to play, too. Could make it difficult for Levis, if they're loud over there, which they always are. But I don't know. There's just something about everything going on. They want Canada fired. People want Tomlin fired. I just feel like it's too much of a mess to come back from. At the end of the day, the Steelers end up winning games often, so I do feel like an idiot not picking the Steelers at home against a below average so far Tennessee Titans team. I just saw more promise from them last week, playing the Falcons, who have had a strong defense too. So I'm taking the Titans 24-20 in this one, but we'll see what happens. Covering that spread too. Dolphins Chiefs. This one I was kind of going back and forth about too. Dolphins, who have had a pretty poor defense, but get better when Jalen Ramsey comes back. And then Patrick Mahomes has such an off week. We know he had the flu, but Nick Bolton's out too on that defense. And I really don't think the Chiefs defense, as great as they've been this year, I don't think they're going to have the answers. L'Jarius Sneed being a good corner over there. I just don't know if they're going to have all the answers for Miami. And I feel like Miami's going to put up points. I feel like the Chiefs are going to stay in it because it is tough to stop the Mahomes to Kelsey connection. Chiefs weren't able to get a receiver before the trade deadline. I mean, they get Mecole Hardman back. Really, he's been like a special teams guy. He's had his plays on offense, but still the Mahomes to Kelsey show. They have Rashee Rice has been doing well this year. Probably still in search of a wide receiver one. Some about the Dolphins' offense has been too good. Again, I don't think, especially with Nick Bolton out, I don't think they're going to be able to stop him on defense. And I think the Dolphins just have to take it. Even though it just changed, spread just changed to 1.5-point dogs. We're 2.5 right before I started recording here. But I'm taking the Dolphins both ways against the spread, everything. I don't know. That was kind of a tough one. A lot of big games this week. Another big game being this one. Both of these could have been thumbnail worthy. I try to put the big matchups in. Couldn't really decide this week. Too many big games. So Seahawks Ravens. This one I was very torn about because the Ravens haven't been a super streaky team. They're 6-2, so they're doing well this season. But they seem to be able to have those off games, or they can just dominate the Lions. So I feel like they're due to not have an amazing game, and that's why I think the Seahawks can cover. They just add Leonard Williams. Check out my trade video. I give a grade for every trade, so that one went well, so check that out. But yeah, after getting Leonard Williams, I don't even know if he's going to play much, but I think the Seahawks and the Ravens have been two of the more complete teams and consistently complete teams in the league. Aside from, like I said, Ravens having some struggles early on in certain games, like, I don't know, it made it tough for me to pick. That's why I kind of went both ways. I do think the Ravens are going to win because they've been the stronger football team to me, but I think the Seahawks 5.5 seems like a lot of points. So I've got them, Ravens winning. Justin Tucker probably wanting to get back after his missed field goal last week. So he's getting a few field goals in this one. And then Seahawks get close, but only score 24. losing to the Ravens, but covering that spread. Next game, we have the Cardinals and the Browns. This one, I have the Cardinals covering, which seems like a crazy idea, especially because it seems like the Cardinals went into tank mode. They just traded Josh Dobbs. Clayton Tune has not played well, and it seems dumb. Jerry, why would you pick them to cover the spread? Well, I don't think Josh Dobbs is a great quarterback, and I think somebody can fill in. I think the Browns, at least as of recent, look kind of overrated because of some of their wins with their poor offensive play. I think the Browns. This is like my kind of like not even an upset because I still have the Browns winning, but upset on bets of the week just because they don't have any tape on Clayton Tune. We don't really know what he is. In the very little bit that we've seen, he really hasn't looked good. But I feel like there's got to be hope, and Kyler Murray could play too. So I'm kind of banking on that with the cover. I think there's a chance Cardinals could beat the Browns if the Browns just decide to have an off week. That if Kyler Murray plays, of course. Again, that's even a crazy take in and of itself. But the Cardinals have been close in a lot of the games that they've played, and there's some games where to me it's just surprisingly close for the caliber of teams they're going up against, losing by one touchdown. So I've got the Cardinals covering the spread. I don't feel great about that pick, but the Browns I think are going to win regardless. Kind of saving myself a little bit in the pick with having the Cardinals cover in the event that there's some sort of a big upset. But I think the Browns ultimately take it. Their defense has been best in the league. Arguably against the Cowboys. Cowboys have gotten a lot more turnovers and plays like that, but the Browns defense has been phenomenal. So can't knock that. Browns Cowboys are pretty much 1A and 1B in my opinion, at least for defense. They had a bad game against the Colts, let up a lot of points, but I like the Browns defense, especially against Clayton Tune and not too many weapons on offense. So I'm taking the Cardinals to cover. Don't feel great about it, but I think the Browns are winning regardless. Next, we have the Buccaneers and the Texans. I think the Texans are down in the dumps about their losses these past couple weeks and are going to come back. I think the Buccaneers are a bunch of frauds. I don't think they're that great. I've never been a big Baker Mayfield guy, and sure you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but you got to be able to get them the ball. I've seen Baker screw up numerous times, overthrows, underthrows, whatever you want to call it. They have no run game whatsoever. So I think the defense, I'm kind of trusting DeMeco Ryans to hold them to the 17 points. And then you're basically just betting on Stroud. I don't know what the status of Vita Vea is. I should have looked into that more. But the Buccaneers defense has not looked great without him. He's been definitely a notable piece on there. And if between Damon Pierce and Devin Singletary, they can get running, they're gonna have a great week. So I'm anticipating Texans win this game. I just think with the 3-point spread, I really don't trust the Buccaneers, so that's why I kind of had to have them cover here. 21-17 seems like a fair score. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring, but hopefully Stroud can come back, get the ball to Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Those are your weapons, and get a dub. So moving on to the next one, we have Vikings-Falcons. The Vikings, looks like they're going to start Jaren Hall. They just get Dobbs. Don't know if he's going to be ready. Makes sense to start Jaren Hall. You probably want to see him a few weeks just to see what you have in him in the regular season against full NFL teams. Full NFL teams, as in like preseason, you're not getting a fair assessment of the player. So I have the Vikings losing here, 13-23, just kind of makes sense. Again, the Falcons defense has been playing well, so I don't see the Vikings put up a lot of points. They've proved me wrong already, especially with just getting the ball to Jordan Addison. He's looking like a great receiver this year. Definitely going to be top 5 in Rookie of the Year voting, if not like top 3. So good on him, but especially having Jaren Hall come in with Kirk Cousins down for the season, it doesn't look very promising. You're going into Atlanta. They started Heineke. They're officially starting Heineke, who I didn't actually even change my prediction after. I don't know if I would, but I believe in the team more with Heineke than Ritter. So no-brainer here to take the Falcons over the Vikings, which is what I'm going to do, by 10 points. Next, we have the Rams-Packers. I put this one at 17-14 because I really don't know what's going to happen. The Packers looked really good early on in the season and have just completely fallen off a cliff. You get Aaron Jones back and don't really use him very much. I'm hoping they learn their lesson and have some more productive plays with Aaron Jones. And I think if Brett Ripien, if he starts, I think the Packers could win this one. But I think the Rams could. I mean, if you can just get the ball to Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, the Packers just traded away Rasul Douglas, who's their cornerback 2. Jair can only cover one of them, so you have Eric Stokes, who either hasn't been healthy or just hasn't played well, so or well as you'd probably like. So I have a very low scoring game just because the Packers' offense has been atrocious and their defense has been bad. But if you have Brett Ripien, however you say it, hopefully he's ripping the ball out because he's going to have to if they're going to win behind him. But I just had to pick them. I think their team's better all around. So I got to take the Rams in this one, 17-14. 3-point underdogs. It's got to be because of Stafford being out likely. But anyway, Commanders-Patriots. This is another one I kind of had trouble picking. Ultimately, I feel like you have to take the Patriots when the Commanders get rid of both of their very good edge rushers. Montez Sweat been one of the top in the league this year. And then as far as run stopping, I think PFF, who sucks anyway, you only use their PFF's ratings when it benefits you, of course. But in this case, we'll say it benefits me. He's third in the league in run stopping and like 17th or 18th in pass rush. So as far as all around, he's great. And Chase Young isn't far behind. Both gone now. So you have Daron Payne in the middle. You're not really getting a whole lot more pass rush, I don't think. So I think it's going to make it easier for Mac Jones. He has been able to sling it at times this year. So I think 3.5 points is a little generous. Sam Howell's done well too. He, led in yards a couple weeks. And again, I like to compare him to Matt Stafford light just because of how he slings the ball. And he's truly a gunslinger. He's going to make some mistakes. But he's also going to get the ball down the field. So if he can do that again, get it to the weapons over there, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, I think they could at least compete. But with how their defense just did everything, I think Bill Belichick's going to be able to scheme up something to at least slow down Howell. There's been a couple weeks where they only get 7 points or they only get 14 points or whatever. So I feel like you got to pick the Patriots here covering that 3.5 spread at home too. That's another factor. Bears Saints, I went back and forth on this one. I wanted the Bears to cover. I thought in my mind, I was like, last week I picked them to cover against the Chargers and they got absolutely smoked. Tyson Bagent, I love Tyson Bagent. I'm a big Bagent fan, big Bagent guy, but Saints have one of the better, probably top 10 defense in the league. You probably have to put them in there for top 10. So I think he's going to struggle. Maybe he's, because of the limited tape on him, maybe Bears will be able to scheme up something. That doesn't even sound real. Hopefully Tyson Bagent will be able to execute the scheme that he's given. It's probably a better wording there. But I think Bears defenses looked like a sieve. Haven't played well. I think Derek Carr, he's missed some passes and hasn't looked amazing this year. So you got that to look forward to. I don't know how Jalen Johnson's going to look. I heard some updates on his contract situation, and it sounds like the trade request was more of a to try to get a deal done rather than he actually wants to leave. He said that he wants to be a Bear for life. So hopefully that doesn't affect his play. Hopefully the DBs can stay healthy and try to contain that offense. But I think, especially with the front seven, this would be a good test for the linebackers with having a weapon like Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, because Bears pay all that money to sign those two star linebackers where Tremaine Edmonds hasn't looked great. I don't even know if he's playing. He came out injured last week. I should have checked on that too. But TJ Edwards has looked really good. He's played like a top tier linebacker in the league, or at least top half at the very least. He's been good. And Jack Sanborn, I love Jack Sanborn. I think if Edmonds is out and maybe he has to fill in, I loved how Jack Sanborn looked last year playing the mic. So I think the Bears have a chance. 17 just seems better because I think they're going to figure something out. I think Chargers had their number, blitzed a lot, kind of like the Vikings did when they shut down the Bears. So if the Saints can do that, they'll do it. But I think I think the Saints can cover. It just changed to 8.5. It was 7.5 right before this, but I got the Saints winning and covering because the Bears seem to be kind of a dumpster fire. Running back coach just got fired. Didn't even mention that. Running back coach just got fired for some HR issues. So I'm taking the Saints over the Bears, covering the 8.5 point spread. Next game we have Colts Panthers. Not a believer in the Panthers still after beating the Texans, who I have spoken a little highly about. Not highly overall, but just in comparison to what we expected going into the league, going into the season. But I got the Colts putting up a lot of points as they have been. They've never put up less than 20 points in a game, or 21 or 20. It was 37-20 against the I don't remember what team, but the Colts have been putting up points. That's the point, is they've been putting up points. Their defense has not been great, but I don't think Bryce Young has been that great either in their offense. Chuba Hubbard doesn't really look like he's doing too well. Miles Sanders got limited on snaps. I don't know if that were carries at least. I don't know if that was part of the injury or because Chuba Hubbard. I don't know what the deal is there. I just don't think the Panthers' offense is capable of putting up a lot of points. I think this could be a little bit higher scoring, especially if Bryce Young keeps getting better and better and putting it together a little bit more. I still don't think he's a great quarterback, but he has been getting better as the season goes on, as human beings naturally do. But Colts taking down the Panthers 28-17 seems like a low spread to me. I know the Colts have played in some close games, but just with seeing how many points they've put up and how many points the Panthers have put up, it just makes more sense for me for the Colts to win and cover that measly -2.5 spread going into Carolina. So I'm taking them there. Next up, we have Giants-Raiders. This game is not going to be great. You got Aiden O'Connell coming in. Daniel Jones sounds like he's going to be back. If not, you got Tommy DeVito. I did pick this score when I heard Tommy DeVito was starting, and with how the Raiders have looked, and head coach gets fired, I'm surprised. I did look right before this started. The Raiders are still favored by 1.5 points, which kind of blows my mind. We fire your head coach and clean house, and then still favored to win a game. Sure, it's at home, but I don't think Vegas is really at home for anybody, especially. I don't know if the Raiders fans are really. I don't know how they're doing, but maybe they're still going to games. Maybe they're still giving the team money. I don't know that, but Giants I have winning. It seems like a no-brainer. I think this is going to be kind of a dud, probably a punt fest. Giants take down the Raiders 17-13. Although the Giants have been they looked better under Tyrod Taylor. But anywho, Cowboys-Eagles. This one I really wasn't sure. I had the Cowboys losing and the Eagles covering, and I was like, Cowboys defense just seems too good, and Jalen Hurts has been making some mistakes this year. And the other big thing for me is I think these teams are kind of polar opposites, where the Eagles defense we'll talk about the Eagles defense has not been as good as we expected. It's been kind of middle of the pack. I don't even know if you'd be able to say it's top 10 this year so far. And then the Cowboys, on the other hand, have been a top defense, top 1, 2, 3 probably as far as defense goes. But I don't think the Cowboys' offense is great. If you look at the Cowboys' stats, their offense, they look pretty good, especially points, but that doesn't factor in, most of the stats that I found for offensive points, not as good, obviously, as their defense, just because their defense has been scoring for them. That's a stupid thing for me to even say. That's so obvious. What are you talking about, Jerry? But anywho, I don't think the Cowboys, I think they can cover, and I think they can even win, but the fact that the Cowboys are 3-point dogs, I feel like if their defense can get going early and shut down Hurts, which I think is possible, I think they could go up, and I think the Eagles are going to have trouble coming back from behind. So I'm taking the Cowboys to cover, losing to the Eagles 23-24. I think it's going to be a close game. Could be completely wrong. Had a lot of difficulties picking this one. Next, we have the Bills-Bengals. One of these two games should have been flexed, I think, to the you'll see the next game is not worthy of a Monday Night Football. So this game would not be. This is Sunday Night Football. I think last game, or even those other two. We had Seahawks, Ravens, and the other one that I talked about that I said was going to be a good Chiefs, Dolphins. The fact that one of those two games isn't the Monday Night Football game, and the game that we're going to talk about after is having this Sunday night, having one of those Monday night would have been perfect, but they screwed it up. That's okay. Bills lose to the Bengals. Bengals, as of recent, have been the more complete team. Bills defense slacked off. It hurts to say that they slacked off because they haven't been horrible. It's just you lose Matt Milano, you lose Trey White, you trade for Rasul Douglas. I think that probably helps. Kyer White or Kyer, what's his name? Kyer Elam White, one of those Kyer guys on the Bills, the rookie they drafted. What the hell's his name? He has been a healthy scratch too. So it's, I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I think Josh Allen's gonna move the ball still. Bengals have been getting good pressure, but Josh Allen knows how to escape pressure. So I feel like that'll help them there. But Bills' run game hasn't been phenomenal. Bengals' run game usually isn't phenomenal, but was pretty good last week. Joe Mixon finally had a good week. But I don't know. It just seems Bengals at home, Buffalo having struggles, kind of on and off. Bengals kind of riding a high wave here of getting some wins. Seems right to pick the Bengals. The spread's only -1.5, which means the way they compare them, if these two teams were just dead nuts, it's 3 points. So they'd be going 1.5 2.5 points if it was even playing ground to the Bills. So got to take the Bengals here for me against the spread, especially if it's only 1.5. I just feel like that makes a lot of sense. I guess you could say the same too, getting a point being the Bills. Probably if you're actually betting, be a good opportunity to maybe check the alternate spreads, see if there's anything of value there. If you have, maybe 3.5 for either team, whatever you like. I suck with bets, so don't take my advice. I'm just kind of talking out of my ass here. So Bengals win 31-28. Moving on. Let's move on to Monday Night Football, Chargers, Jets. Chargers, who've been definition of a roller coaster team. Well, I mean, I guess with their results, but Chargers they're going to suck in some department because of Brandon Staley. So you lose Aaron Rodgers on the Jets, and they've kind of had their roller coaster of success too, beating good teams, losing to bad teams. At home, the fact that they're 3-point dogs after the Chargers beat the Bears by a lot, I don't understand what the point, how that works, why that's a thing. I think the Jets are a better team than the Chargers, and they're at home, so I don't know why they're 3-point dogs, but that's what the betting world says. So I'm taking the Jets by 3 in this case, because again, Jets haven't been amazing this year by any means, but I have them graded right next to the Chargers. And if you watch that too, look at all the plugs in this video, the power rankings video. Watch those too. I have them pretty much side by side, but I just think because the Jets have the stronger defense, if they can just shut down the Chargers' offense a couple times, I feel like the Jets' offense can do enough to make some plays against. I'm looking at this now, and I feel like the scoring is high. Because the Jets' offense really hasn't been amazing. But I guess the way my mind worked is Chargers, I feel like, are going to put up points regardless, and I feel like the Jets are going to be able to put up more. When I was speaking my reasoning, I said that the Jets have a good defense, which would mean you would think that the Chargers would have a lower score. But that's not what I did. I picked the Jets to have 24 points and the Chargers to have 21, being a 3-point spread. So taking the Jets, final answer, lock it in, and that is Monday Night Football. That is the last game of the week. If you have really been paying close attention to these, you would notice that I screwed up, and wouldn't expect you to notice because it took me a while to notice, but I screwed up on week 6. Week 6, I had myself at 4-9 or something really bad, and I looked back, looked at all the games, and that was not right. And you know what? I just noticed I didn't even type it in right here. So I should have typed in 8-7. I have a little piece of paper here. Did change it to 8-7 on there. The final record is right at 70-51. That is just like your money line, picking the winners. And then against the spread, getting better at 58-63. Good week last week, but my better rushing team record has not looked as good. We have they were 7-9 this week. Better rushing team being usually the team with more yards, but always factoring in first the yards per carry. So somebody has better yards per carry, pick them. If they have a better rushing yards, but their yards per carry is significantly lower. The team with the higher yards per carry wins in my book. This is not any like scientific fact that I came up with. It was something that I noticed, that I was looking at all the winning teams and I went, wow, they seem to win a lot more often. I was like, well, maybe it's because they already go up a lot in points, so they spend the rest of the game running the ball to play it safe. But then I looked and I was like, well, yards per carry, that doesn't always factor in. So I factor all that in, and the team that has been running the ball better has won 84 times to the losing 37 times. So pretty impressive there. Keep looking at that. But that's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Check out those other videos, the trade video I just posted and the power rankings videos. We'll do a takeaway video when the football week is over. And then I've got a couple videos in the works. So stay tuned for those, talking about coaches, maybe being fired. I've got how I'm going to fix a potential NFL team. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching and have a great day.